vs. Tennessee, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN vs. Tennessee, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPN2, WatchESPN vs. Tennessee, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at Auburn, 7 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at Auburn, 7 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at Auburn, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN vs. Arkansas, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN vs. Arkansas, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN vs. Arkansas, 3 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at Mississippi State, 7 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at Mississippi State, 2 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at Mississippi State, 1 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at Kentucky, 6 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at Kentucky, 2 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at Kentucky, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN vs. Georgia, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN vs. Georgia, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN vs. Georgia, 1 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN vs. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN vs. Florida, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPNU, WatchESPN vs. Florida, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at South Carolina, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at South Carolina, 12 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at South Carolina, 1 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN vs. Missouri, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN vs. Missouri, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN vs. Missouri, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at Alabama, 7 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at Alabama, 7:30 p.m. ET, ESPN2, WatchESPN, at Alabama, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, SEC Network, WatchESPN, at LSU, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, ESPNU, WatchESPN, at LSU, 3 p.m. ET, ESPN2, WatchESPN, at LSU, 3 p.m. ET, SEC Network, WatchESPN. What to watch for? Like every week, there is plenty to digest this weekend in the world of SEC softball. The first-place Florida Gators head to Starkville to play 22nd-ranked Mississippi State. 9 of the Bulldogs' 12 losses have come in SEC play. So Van Stoothman's crew is looking for a big series win to improve their seeding for the Women's College World Series. Georgia, just one game behind Florida, makes their way to Lexington for a showdown with Kentucky. The Wildcats sit at 4-10 in conference play, and a series win at home against a top team could do loads to help their resume for the WCWS. Ole Miss takes a break from what has been a rough season within the conference to play UTEP this weekend. Mizzou swept a 2-game series from Auburn last weekend, and sit at 22 in the RPI rankings. For all the turmoil of this past offseason, they could still make a postseason appearance. South Carolina will provide a stiff test in Columbia East as they look to climb up the SEC standings. The 9th-ranked Aggies, sitting 3rd in the SEC, could look to potentially host a super regional if they keep winning. Even though the chances of getting past Florida to win the SEC look slim, there is still plenty to play for. LSU is wanting to protect home field and build their resume in this crucial time of year. Auburn, coming off a disappointing weekend in Columbia, Missouri, will want to rebound at home against the 16th-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks as both teams battle for positioning to host a regional. Arkansas has been on a roll, winning 17 of their last 21 games. The last series of the weekend is 10th-ranked Tennessee traveling south to Tuscaloosa to play the 17th-ranked Crimson Tide. Tennessee has some work to do if they want to get to the point of being able to host a super regional. Alabama, meanwhile, has lost 4 of their last 6 and need to stop the skid to be able to host a regional.